Recording in progress.
Hello! Mabuhay! This is Teacher Lourdes. This is your course, Research 2, Project Development. Our lesson 7 is Results and Discussion, Chapter 4 Focus. Our objectives are interpret descriptive statistics, relate findings to research questions, and identify parts of a well-written Chapter 4, which include presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Let's have a sample text survey. Surveying 50 BSIT students, 25 prefer Python, 15 students prefer Java, and 10 students prefer C++. What can we conclude from this data? We can say that Python is the most preferred language, which has 50%, and Java is second, having 30%, and C++ is the least preferred, having 20%. That is already an interpretation, but in Chapter 4, we need to write it formally and connect it to our research questions. Now let's have the lesson proper. Chapter 4 is the results and discussion following the undergraduate thesis by CHED context. In most CHED-compliant undergraduate theses in the Philippines, Chapter 4 is entitled Results and Discussion. This chapter presents the findings of the study, explains what they mean, and connects them to the research questions and related literature. So, what is the purpose of Chapter 4? Chapter 4 aims to present the data gathered in an organized manner so that the reader or the panel can understand your data following an organized format. And also, you will analyze the results using appropriate statistical or qualitative techniques. And then, Chapter 4 also aims to interpret the findings clearly and logically. And then, it will relate the results to the research questions or your hypothesis. Also, there is a need to compare the findings with existing literature. You can go back to your discussion of RRL in chapter 2 and discuss some connection to your findings with the existing literature. Also, it answers the core question: what did the study discover and what does it mean? So that's the main purpose of chapter 4. So there are two major parts of chapter 4. First, the results. This section objectively presents the findings. It includes tables, figures, graphs, statistical results in case of quantitative, and for qualitative studies, it includes themes. So, it is very important to note that you as researchers do not have and you do not really have to put personal opinions because in research, the data is based on factual and uh, the data gathered. You should not discuss or include your personal opinions. And in chapter 4, there is no conclusion yet. The conclusion is in chapter 5 of your research. So basically, just factual presentation and initial interpretation of the raw data. So the part 2 of your chapter 4 is the discussion. So this section explains why the results occurred, how findings relate to theory. So in chapter 4, you will also go back to your conceptual or theoretical theory, which you put in your chapter 2. So you will also discuss whether, as researchers, you agree or disagree, or your research results agree or similar to the previous studies, or disagree, or there are inconsistencies in comparing to the previous studies. So, in your discussion of the chapter 4, it is important that you discuss the implication of the results. What are the implication of the results? And this is where the deeper analysis happens. So, basically, chapter 4, you present the findings of your study, and then you discuss the analysis. So, and important to mention is that all your discussion must be aligned with your statement of the problem or your objectives. Okay, so let's discuss now the structure of chapter 4, which is typical from CHED. Okay? So most undergraduate theses follow this flow. So the first part, you will restate the research question. So you will go back to your introduction and you will get your research question. And then you will present the table or the figure from your gathered data. And you will describe the results. Then you will interpret meaning. And then you will connect to the existing related literature and other studies. So that's the typical format of a chapter 4 following the CHED recommended format. Okay, so let's have an example. For example, in this research titled Effects of Coding Practice on Programming Performance of BSIT Students, we have the question number 1. What is the average number of coding hours per week? So, for example, we have the result. The mean number of coding hours is 9.8 hours per week. So, for example, in a simple discussion, this suggests that most BSIT students engage in moderate programming practice. According to prior studies on skill acquisition, consistent practice improves technical competence. Okay, so it is also important that you mention whose study mentioned that skill acquisition requires consistent practice. Okay, it is important that you cite the researchers' names and the date properly, and also list down the references that you mentioned in your discussion in the reference part of your paper. So now let's have the research question number 2. For example, the question number 2 is there a significant relationship between coding hours and programming scores? For example, the result is the students who coded more than 10 hours weekly had a mean score of 90, while those coding less than 5 hours had a mean score of 75. So you will have the discussion like this. The results indicate a positive relationship between coding time and programming performance. This supports experiential learning theory, which emphasizes practice as a key factor in skill development. You can also include learning by doing principle, because the more you do something, the more you learn. Okay? And it is important to note that again, you must mention the reference or the citation. You must mention who developed the experiential learning theory, and also the learning by doing principle. Okay, so that's some example. So let's discuss what chapter 4 is not. So chapter 4 is not a repetition of chapter 3. because as we have discussed, chapter 3 is a discussion of your methodology of how you will conduct your study. And it is not pure opinion. Okay? You cannot give your personal or biased opinion. Okay? All your discussions must have theoretical or related literature so that you can, as you discuss the results of your chapter 4, you will always find some research, published research, which already conducted similar study, so that these citations will back up your findings. Okay? That's important. And it is not yet the summary. So avoid making summary because summary is for chapter 5. And it is not simply copying numbers from tables. You do not copy paste from tables. And also tables are also organized and tables are also based from statistics. For example, there should be a mean in your table and there should be qualitative the discussion which correlates to your numbers. Okay? So you do not copy numbers from tables, okay? In your discussion, there must be mentioned about the table and explanation about the the table, the data on the table. So you must explain the table. Okay? That's very important. Do not only state that the results are this, the results are this. No, no, you should explain. Okay? So let's have the quantitative versus qualitative research in chapter 4. In quantitative research, it includes frequency, percentage, mean, standard deviation, correlation, t-test, ANOVA, or any other statistical test which is related to the objectives or the statement of the problem of the study. And the structure is organized by research question or hypothesis. Okay. So the qualitative research, on the other hand, includes themes, sub-themes, participant statements, which are coded, and narrative explanations. The structure is organized by emerging themes. So in qualitative, if you conducted interview or observation or thematic data from interview and other survey and observation and ethnography, you must organize the themes or the answers of the participants. Okay? So that's the difference of quantitative research and qualitative research presentation in chapter 4. So, what are the key elements that your panel will look for in your paper during your defense? So, these are the main elements. First, there must be a clear alignment with the research questions. Okay, that's very important that the discussion is aligned with your questions. And number two, logical flow of presentation. So, in your presentation of the results, you can ask or you can use or utilize the AI such as ChatGPT and other AI like Gemini or Borium to help you organize your teams. Okay, so for example, you have already written your group has already written by collaboration your interpretation of the data and the presentation of your raw data. So to make your paper more coherent and the discussion is having a professional tone, you can upload your initial draft to ChatGPT and other AI uh, so that your paper can be improved. So you just put the proper prompt. And for example, you prompt in Gemini, analyze our paper titled blah, 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 with the following objectives, blah, 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 and create a coherent and logical flow of discussion, and remove duplicates, or improve the academic tone, or improve the discussion. So, and then you upload your paper and then you press enter. So, I allow use of AI as long as you do not use AI 100%. You must do your study first before uploading to AI to improve your paper. Okay? Do not depend on AI. Okay? Because we are beings, and we are still smarter than AI. Do you believe that? And there should be proper interpretation of statistics and support from related literature. So, as we have mentioned before, there must be mention of existing literature which either support or contradict your claim. And there should be no overgeneralization, because generalization is for chapter 5, or the summary. And of course, as I have mentioned, the academic tone must be also be improved. Okay? So I hope you bear this in mind, because these are what the panel will look for in your paper and your defense. So again, let's have this example template. So chapter 4, results and discussion. The first paragraph reads like the first sentence. This chapter presents, analyzes, and interprets the data gathered to answer the study's research questions. And then you put your research question number 1. So you put your question here, you copy it from your chapter 1, and afterwards, you will put some initial paragraph to introduce the findings, and then you present the table. So the table is already summarized. Do not put the wrong table of individual respondents. You must create a summary, and you will put there the some suggestions or comments of the respondents. Okay, so according to your research question, so the table 1, for example, presents the distribution of respondents according to. Okay, so that's an example. And then for your next paragraph, you will start with the data reveal that blah blah blah. Okay, so you will explain that. And then for your next paragraph, you will put this indicates that. So this is where your analysis will took place, and you will put some a proper and coherent discussion. And then for the last part, this finding or findings is consistent or inconsistent with the study of, and then you will mention a published research author and mention their results from their study. Okay, this is a sample format. Okay, so I hope you learned this. So as you can see, this is very easy. Ano po? So this is the usual format and the recommended format from CHED. Okay? As a practical advice, so always answer one research question at a time. Okay? So discussion is by research question at a time. Okay, do not discuss all the results in one paragraph or in one page. Okay, please discuss first the first question, and then put the table, put the interpretation, put the related literature before going to the next research question. Okay? Okay? So, another advice, present the table first before the interpretation. Okay, so you will interpret your table and use academic language. So avoid words like I think, maybe, obviously, because these words are suggestive of personal bias. Okay? So, in research, we do not have biases. We should be always interpret is based only on the data gathered. Okay? So, the interpretation is uh, purely from the data gathered. Do not put your own personal opinion. Okay? And so, what is the difference between chapter 4 and chapter 5? So, in chapter 4, as we have said, it presents and interprets the findings. In chapter 5, you will summarize your findings. And in chapter 4, you will discuss meaning. And in chapter 5, you will discuss conclusions derived from your chapter 4. And in your chapter 4, you will link the analyzation and the results to related literature, wherein in chapter 5, you will provide recommendations. Okay? The recommendations can be to improve your developed product or recommendations from the panel, okay, or other recommendations derived from related studies. Okay, so that's the difference between chapter 4 and 5. So, again, let's discuss what is the interpretation of results. It answers what did the data show, what does it mean, how does it answer the research question. Important is interpretation is not just repeating the numbers. You will explain what the numbers mean in context. Okay? So, for example, we have this hours coding spent per week. So, for example, 1 to 5 hours, there are 8 students. So the percentage is 16%. And coding 6 to 10 hours, there are 20 students who code for 6 to 10 hours. And the percentage of this is 40%. And another 11 to 15 hours of coding per week. So the frequency is 15 and the percentage of this is 30%. And 16 plus hours of coding per week, the frequency is 7, or there are 7 students who answered that they code 16 hours or more. And the percentage of this is 14%. So, for example, this is a weak interpretation. You just put most students choose 6 to 10 hours. That's not correct. Here is an example of a strong interpretation. The majority of BSIT students, and you indicate 40%, spend 6 to 10 hours per week coding, indicating moderate engagement in programming practice. Only 14% spend more than 16 hours, suggesting that intensive coding practice is limited among the respondents. So, notice that you need to explain what it implies. Okay, what is the implication of the data? Okay, do you understand? So, let's now interpret mean and standard deviation. For example, mean programming quiz score is 85. So, this is the mean or the average score of the students. So, you computed that the standard deviation is 5. So, what is your interpretation? The average programming quiz score of BSIT students is 85, indicating generally good performance. The low standard deviation, SD equals 5, suggests that scores are closely clustered around the mean, meaning students perform consistently. So as we defined SD before, lower SD means the scores are clustered around the mean, which means that the students perform consistently. So for example, if the mean is 85 but the standard deviation is 20, which is higher, the interpretation is, although the average score is 85, the high standard deviation, ST equals 20, indicates wide variation in performance, which means that some students perform very well while other students struggle. Okay, so 20 is higher and it means a wide variation in the performance. Okay, I hope you understand. So now let's relate the findings to the research questions. For example, the research question is, what is the average number of hours BSIT students spend coding weekly? So your answer in chapter 4, the findings revealed that BSIT students spend an average of 9.8 hours per week coding, which falls within the 6 to 10-hour range. This suggests that students dedicate moderate time to programming practice. So, this is an example. I hope you understand. So, that's how you analyze the data. So let's have the question number 2. Is there a relationship between study hours and programming performance? So suppose the students who study 11 plus hours have a mean score of 90 and the students who study 1 to 5 hours have a mean score of 75. So we have the interpretation. The students who spend more time coding tend to have higher programming scores, suggesting that increased practice may contribute to improved performance. So you notice that you are not concluding causation unless statistical tests prove it, only describing trends. Okay? So you need to have the data back up. Okay? You don't summarize or uh, you don't discuss that something is this like this without statistical data. Okay? So let's have this sample. Chapter 4, results and discussion, research question number 1. What are the study habits of BSIT students in terms of weekly coding hours? So let's have the table 1. The table 1 presents the distribution of respondents according to hours spent coding per week. Okay? So the data show that 40% of students spend 6 to 10 hours coding, while 30% spend 11 to 15 hours. This indicates that most BSIT students engage in moderate programming practice. Okay? So again, what is the programming performance level of BSIT students? The mean programming score was 85, SD equals 5, indicating good and consistent performance among the respondents. So the research question number 3, is there a significant relationship between coding hours and performance? So the answer, students who coded more than 10 hours weekly had higher average scores compared to those coding fewer than 5 hours. This suggests a positive trend or a positive relation between practice time and performance. So, did you see or did you analyze the how the questions were answered? But of course, in your paper, you will not write only one sentence. You need to discuss more. As I have said in your paragraph, you must include a 4 to 5, 6 or 7 sentences in one paragraph in your discussions and avoid lengthy paragraphs. Okay? So, again, let's have this example structure. The number 1 is the research question, and then you will present the table or the figure, and then you will describe the results. Then you will interpret the meaning, and finally, you will connect to the research questions and connect related literature. So, again, what are the common mistakes? Copying numbers without explanation, adding unsupported opinions, and mixing chapter 5 discussion, and ignoring the research questions. So, these are mistakes. Avoid these mistakes. So, I hope you learned something in this discussion. So, for your student activity, you will interpret this survey of 60 BSIT students show that they have a mean general uh, performance average of 2.1 and the standard deviation is 0.3. So the question, how will you interpret this result? Okay. When you say GPA, this is the average of their uh, grade. In college, we have 1 as the highest score or the highest grade, and 3 as passing, 75%, and 5 as failed, 4 conditional. So the GPA of the 60 students is 2.1. So the standard deviation is 0.3. So how will you interpret this result? The standard deviation is low. So meaning the mean is near, I mean the scores are near the mean. Okay? So part B, relate to the research question. So does participation in hackathons improve technical skills? Okay? Hackathons maybe is a term in ICT wherein the students can hack hackathons. Okay, so the data, participants mean technical score is 88 and the non-participants mean technical score is 75. So the question, write a 2 to 3 sentence interpretation. Okay? Uh, so I hope you learned something from our lesson. These are my references. Thank you so much to these references. And also, as usual, thank you so much, Zoom.com, Canva.com, and ChatGPT. Thank you so much. This is your teacher, Teacher Lourdes, saying, mabuhay.